This past weekend, for the first time, I went to Long Island's premier comic book convention called EternalCon. How did that go? Let's talk about it. Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today I'm here to talk about my experience at EternalCon this year and also just to show you my pickups. So yeah, first I will give you my thoughts on the convention and then I will give you the pickups. If you want to skip to the pickups, the timestamp is somewhere on the YouTube video or in the description. So yeah, let's just talk about the convention real quick. I've been to only really New York Comic Con in terms of comic book conventions, and I only discovered EternalCon a few months ago because I've been getting into comic books a lot recently. And the convention itself, I believe, has been going on for the past few years, but it is at the Hofstra University, I guess like gymnasium or whatever. So there's not a lot of space, but for what there is there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of celebrity creators all the way in the back with like the Power Rangers people. And honestly, it's a pretty nice and modest convention. I think if you are a big comic book collector and you're looking for key issues or older books, this is definitely the spot to do it. I would definitely not go into the convention expecting a lot of modern books, which is what I was kind of expecting. But overall, I did have a great time at the convention for the one day that I attended. I believe it's only for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And Sunday was pretty chill. I feel like Sunday at conventions is usually the busier day. That's the day that like people spend their time with their family and whatnot. So, there's going to be a lot of kids running around. But overall, it was a pretty nice and fun con experience for my first year. So let me just show you my pickups. Going first with the stuff that my girlfriend wanted, which was a lot of stuff in like Artist Alley and also just like cutesy fun things like gibbets for your Crocs. Obviously, most of the time these things are bootleg, but I believe this booth had them for 2 for $5, so we bought 2 different sets. Mine is with Kirby and Pom Pom Purin. I believe the one she got is like a fat cinnamon roll in Psyduck. So yeah, whenever we are at these conventions together, we always try to find a booth with gibbets and try to scoop some up for ourselves. And I got her some other stuff such as some capybara stickers and I believe a Bond sticker from Spy Family, the dog. He is very, very cute. So obviously we had to get that. Now for the comic books, for everything I spent, including my pickups and the stuff that I got for her, was actually less than $100 because I bought $150 with me and I came back with the $50 and a couple of extra singles. So honestly, considering that I brought extra money because I was only looking to spend $100, that's pretty good. I stayed within my budget. So first up, there was this booth that just had a bunch of dollar comics, a bunch of random stuff from really, really old books from before I was even born to stuff that was much more up my alley, which was the modern books. So these were all $1 a piece, which I was very surprised by, especially with these books right here, which is the Chip Zdarsky run on Batman. I read this only a few months ago, so I was very surprised to see these there. And they're in okay condition. I'm not like a sort of comic book grading expert or whatever, but for the condition that they're in, $1 a piece, not bad, especially considering this is the first issue of the run 125. George Jimenez, I bought it specifically because of his art and also he's going to be at New York Comic Con later this year. So if I have the chance, I definitely want to get him to sign this book. And why not get, I believe this is 131. Not really a huge fan of the cover, but like I said, it was $1. So I was like, well, might as well pick it up. The other book that I saw there, which is a Daredevil Chip Zdarsky, I forget if this was the first or second run. I believe this is the second run because it has Elektra as Daredevil on the cover. And this is a pretty sick cover. They're both falling down and whatnot. So I read this, I want to say about a year ago, and this run is like fantastic. It's honestly peak, and I really want to reread it at some point, maybe before Daredevil Born Again Season 2 comes out. And the last 2 books I got here was another comic book run that I read recently, which is Batman and Robin. I believe this was part of the New 52 Initiative or something like that. Maybe, I don't exactly remember, but got these 2 books, $1 a piece. Very, very happy about it because I think these 2 covers are pretty good. You got both Batman and Robin front and center. And then we were kind of just walking around, meandering for a while, and then there was like this big booth. I don't know if I got any B-roll of it, but it's pretty much that big booth with all of like the big like key covers that they had on there. The booth itself was pretty nice. There was a nice wide selection of books, very well organized. The prices were okay. I would definitely say some of the stuff was a little overpriced, which you will see in a minute. But I think these books that I got here were decent deals, and also everything at the booth. I'm not sure if the key covers or the sort of key issues on the back wall were 30% off, but everything at the booth that were sort of able to be grabbed was 30% off. So the first thing that I picked up was this 9/11 book. It was just a very interesting trade paperback that we saw, and my girlfriend was like, you have to get that, especially since we just saw Superman recently. So yeah, I have no idea what this book is about. I guess it is about remembering 9/11, and it's going to have some DC characters in there, and sort of about the real heroes on that day, such as the policemen, firefighters, etc. So yeah, and this is volume 2. So they made multiple issues on this. So I definitely have to look up and see how much volume 1 is, just so I could complete my collection. And $10, 30% off, make it 7, not that bad. Another book I got here is by, I believe, David Mack, Daredevil, issue 11. So I bought this book specifically, once again, sort of like the George Jimenez 125 Batman covers, to get this signed by David Mack. He's also going to be at New York Comic Con, and out of all of the covers that this person had, this one obviously is like the most flashy, the most colorful, and on top of that, it was kind of the cheapest. I believe he had another version of this for like 35 or 25, I forget, but it was a lot more, and I was like, you know what, let me just go and get the 15. I'm not a huge stickler when it comes to condition, so this one seems to be a nice clean cover. That's all I really care about. The condition of it itself, like I said, I can't really grade comics myself, but it looks good enough for me. So $15, take 30% off that. I know the total of it was like $28, so please don't ask me to do math on 30% off of 15, which I also got another Daredevil cover. This is a variant from the first run of Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky, and it is a Alex Ross variant cover. So I saw this, I was like, damn, $15, that has to be a good deal, because Alex Ross is like a very popular comic book artist out there. So decided to pull the trigger on that. And like I said, everything I got here for these 3 pieces, the 9/11 trade paperback and the 2 Daredevil covers, $28. So not that bad. But I went to another booth and I saw this for like $7.50, and I was like, damn, I should have got it at that booth, because it looked just as clean and just as good. But they also had this Venom cover, this Venom variant cover, once again Alex Ross, and this was $7.50. And then I saw this cover, which was, this is I believe a homage to the Amazing Spider-Man 50, but instead of having Peter Parker at the center and Spider-Man in the background, it is reversed. And I think that issue is a key issue, which is very expensive. And on top of that, it is the first appearance of Kingpin within the Amazing Spider-Man comics. I forget, but I've been eyeballing that issue for like a while, and I've also known about this one for a while as well. He didn't have a price on it, and I honestly don't keep track of like older comic book cover prices like that. So I was like, uh-oh, I hope it's not that expensive. But he sort of hit me back with 13, made it $20 together, and I was like, you know what? That's not bad. I looked up most of the prices on like these books afterwards, except for like the dollar books, because it's like, those are $1. But this one, it was a little extra from what I would pay on like eBay or whatever, but you know what? I was at the convention. The condition is not that great. You could probably see some stuff on the side there, but you know what? I'm at the convention. Let me go and enjoy myself, get myself a book that I've been eyeballing for a while. And because I got this, it reminded me of another Amazing Spider-Man book that I wanted, which I believe is 287, something like that. It has Black Suit Spider-Man and Daredevil on the front, and I don't know the storyline of it whatsoever, but just those two on the front cover of a comic book, I was like, that goes hard. I definitely need to find that. I went to a couple of other booths, and unfortunately I could not find it. That's definitely something I'm going to have on my checklist when I go to New York Comic Con later this year. Anyways, last pickup here, I spent $20 on this, which is a bunch of Daredevil Legos. So my local comic book store, Fourth World Comics, they also have these, I believe, and it's sort of like the same ordeal where it's like $5 a piece or you get 5 for 20. And I was eyeballing them for a while there, but I didn't pull the trigger because every time I go in there, I spent like a decent amount of money on like my pull list and like some other stuff. So I'm like, one day I will definitely go and get these. So while I was at the convention, this booth had a bunch of Legos, a bunch of different Legos, and they had a nice set of Daredevil ones. I actually had to ask her to pull out the other set because at the time, the only ones that were really present, which was Muse and Bullseye. So the other ones I kind of had to be like, hey, do you have like other Daredevil Legos? So obviously with Daredevil Born Again, these two are the main antagonists, if you will, alongside Kingpin, obviously. And then she pulled out the red suit Daredevil. The black suit one was already on display, and I was definitely going to get that one because obviously this is the iconic suit that he wears throughout most of Season 1 and pretty much all of Season 3. So yeah, I love Daredevil, especially the version with Charlie Cox. And you know, the new season of Born Again, not that bad. Cannot wait for Season 2, and then White Tiger. So yeah, all 5 of those, $20, not bad. And also I got a sort of stack of stands. These were pretty much free bundled in, so now I can display these guys properly if I wanted to. Don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with these, but yeah, I am excited for more Daredevil content, obviously, and I had to go and get those Legos because, like I said, been eyeballing them for a while. But enough of me rambling. That's pretty much all of the pickups that I got at EternalCon. Around $100 is what I spent, which is not that bad. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have not already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. You can follow me on social media at TV Sonic Gaming. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everything. And you can check out my podcast called the Travis and Damien Podcast. Talk about games, movies, and anime every other week. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video once again. And I'll see you guys next time with more videos.